Friday the 24th. And it's been a busy week as usual. Just a reminder that we are installing the new stop signs, 16 new stop signs that the council approved. And again, what we promised council is that if there are problems with them, compliance, safety, traffic backups, we'll look at those. And I know Chief Trayer is tracking that, so thank you, Chief, for that. And then we did add, and we'll talk about the November agendas next week because we'll be to print by that time, next week at this time. But we are adding a sidewalk improvement item to address 1,460 sidewalk uplifts. So those are anywhere between 1/2 inch and 2 inch uplifts, and we've got a proprietary contractor who will do those, and we've got an award of contract on the council agenda for 146 grand or so. And I'm going to put that on consent because we've got other things that really we've got a lot of things to talk about on the November agenda. So we'll see if it sticks on there, and if not, we'll talk about it. And I wanted to ask you, can you give us a plot synopsis before we get to sewage in the ocean, in the National Marine Sanctuary? Did I mention that we weren't informed about it?
I heard about that.
Yeah, that's what's got me spicy and angry today.
Yeah.
But can you tell us about the Verizon application? I think we did announce that we did receive a Verizon application for a new small cell tower.
That's right.
On the east side of Carmelo between 10 and 11?
Yeah.
10th and 11th.
I don't have anything else to say. That's basically it.
Well, you can tell us about the process and who the planner is, and plans are available.
Yeah, so
now I've really kind of done
the plans are available. It's our first wireless application for a small cell site since the adoption of our wireless ordinance. So Jake, back in the planning department, will be processing that. We've already engaged our wireless attorney who helps me write the ordinance. We're going to be sending, the way the process works is you get an application in and you review it for completeness. You know, did they give us all the pictures and drawings and technical reports that we need to process it that are required by our code? It's not complete. That's typical though, like first time around. So we'll be sending out the incompleteness letter today. And what that does, that's an important step along the way, is it stops the shot clock. In the wireless world, there's a thing called the FCC shot clock where you have a certain number of days to process an application.
Or it's approved.
Or it's deemed ministerially approved. And so you really have to watch the timelines, which of course we're doing. If and when we get the incomplete letter out today, what it does is it actually stops the shot clock and resets it.
Yep.
As long as you get that letter out by the first 10 days, it stops the clock and resets it. So we'll have the full time once again when the application comes back with the full materials in it. So everything's fine. I did hear from some residents who were concerned when they found out we got an application that, you know, we were gonna miss the shot clock. And please don't be concerned about that. We're very, very on. Alarm bells go off in this building when wireless applications come in, I promise.
Good job, thank you.
So that's all good.
And now on to, can you give us a plot synopsis on the housing element ADU ordinance? Two separate documents, obviously, but they're obviously interrelated.
Separate but related.
Planning Commission had a good hearing on Monday. I know you were sitting over there.
I got to pretend to be the planning director again. It was fun. The housing element was reviewed, our full draft was reviewed by the Planning Commission to provide comments and recommendations to the City Council, who will see it at their regular meeting on the 4th.
No decision this past Monday, or on the 4th.
That's correct. All that we're asking the Planning Commission, the City Council to do is look at the draft in its current state and make sure they're okay with us sending it for the formal review by HCD.
Now, you say formal review. Is this the first time that this draft will be seen by HCD?
Oh gosh, no, Chip. Oh gosh, no.
It was a rhetorical question.
I know that was one of those leading questions you already knew the answer to. No, we've been working hand in hand with our partners in HCD for the last year and a half. We've been doing this.
Right.
We brought them along the entire way. They're really enthused about what we've done to the programs that largely already existed in the housing element, but in our efforts working with the AHA group to refine them, to make the incentives better, to make them more fit better in the village, essentially. In fact, HCD has even said things, like you've turned constraints into opportunities. They're really impressed. They've suggested we apply for some planning awards based on that effort. So I feel very positive about when we send it up to the state. There may still be some little tweaks, but it's a 60-day, so timeline-wise.
Yeah.
Council on the 4th, assuming council is also okay. So the planning commission recommended to send it to the state. Assuming council doesn't have any major tweaks they want to see, we'll send it to the state shortly after. The state gets 60 days. It's a statutory 60-day review.
So we're looking at potentially as long as early to mid-January, depending on when we get it to the state.
Yeah, January 14th is the worst case scenario if all that timeline holds. And so when we get the letter back from HCD, it'll say one of two things. It'll either say this document's ready to adopt, it's in complete compliance with state law, or here's the things you need to fix. This is the same exercise we went through when adopting our housing element the first time. Or the second letter could be, here's the things you have to fix those, and then it's ready to adopt.
Right.
So depending on what that letter says, we're just gonna assume because of all the groundwork we've done that we get the ready to adopt letter, fingers crossed. If that's the case, then we have to go through the formal adoption process, and that's when the project is actually adopted. That's when the housing element is actually adopted, and that's the time when we'll do the CEQA review.
And what's CEQA again?
I can't even begin to explain.
Who is Mrs. CEQA?
It's Mr. CEQA to you. But yeah, that'll be our environmental review document that will go along
That's
with it.
important, right?
Yeah.
Because CEQA says it starts at the beginning of a project, but it's not a project yet.
Because it could change.
Right.
Based on what the city council says, based on what HCD says, it's not a static project yet.
Right.
That's why CEQA can't be done yet, because it's not a project yet.
God, you're good at these. Like, it's amazing. You're
Done.
like a planner, like a land use planner.
Unbelievable.
So we'll
best
do
case,
CEQA, and
Yep.
then it'll go to the planning commission. They'll review the CEQA document, make a formal recommendation via resolution to the
That's
city
right.
council for adoption.
And then once it's adopted, it actually has to go back to the state for another 60 days.
Right, and
Up to 60 days.
And we'll file our notice of determination of the CEQA document as allowed and required to some
Yep.
degree by state law
Yep.
with Monterey County, and then what? Does it go to the coastal commission for
No,
adoption?
this does not have to go to the coastal commission. Yeah, so best case scenario, we're looking in April-ish for our housing element to be completely done, certified by HCD and all that. And then that turns into your question about the ADUs, because that's when we will refocus back on the ADU ordinance.
Right.
Because we want to make sure that whatever happens, because our housing element does rely on ADUs to some extent, we want to make sure that whatever happens through the adoption process of the housing element, that our ADU ordinance jives with that essentially.
Right.
And so once again, because of how we do things around here, we have been working very closely with our partners at both HCD and the Coastal Commission as we've been drafting this housing element, or the ADU ordinance. So
Right.
they're aware of our approaches and how we're leaning on the local coastal program to manage the size of ADUs, not to
Right.
prohibit them, because we
Right.
can't, but to manage the size of ADUs relative to the rest of the lot.
Right, so the philosophy here is, even though the housing element division is separate from the ADU division at HCD, we want HCD to focus on the housing element because the revised draft relies so heavily on allowing people to build accessory dwelling units in the village to help provide housing to meet our arena numbers.
That's right.
God, look, too many acronyms.
Listen to
today.
you.
Why didn't we
Listen to you
practice
confusing
this?
people. So yeah, that's the scoop on housing element ADUs.
right.
I don't think anybody wants to know anything
Well,
about that.
you can call or write, please, if you've got any questions about
Yeah, I'll take
process or
somebody
the
to coffee if
document.
they want to know more about this stuff.
We can spend days talking about it. It's
Yeah.
just so fascinating.
Absolutely.
All right, so.
Speaking of
We
fascinating.
do not own our sewage system, thank goodness.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, what did we get told? We're the stewards of a mile-long, beautiful strand of beach on the National Marine Sanctuary. And what did we find out from one of our residents yesterday afternoon, Brandon?
We got a picture sent to us of a sign posted by the County of Monterey Health Department closing our beach.
And did we get informed by the county or the sewage spiller?
No, sir, we did not. No.
Can you imagine if we did something like this?
No, and I don't, this was my counsel to you. We're not going to go too far down that road at this
I
point
know.
because we're still
This
learning.
is-
But it is true that we didn't receive, apparently there was a sewage spill later Wednesday at some point. We don't know exactly when yet. We're still determining what happened. There was some testing that was done. The testing came back yesterday. and determined that, so the beach was closed in abundance of caution by the county because they found out about this spill from cod. Testing was done. The testing came back late yesterday and confirmed that there was indeed contamination, so the signs were left up.
Fecal coliform.
There has been another round of testing that's been started, and hopefully the results will come back soon. Right now, the word I've heard is that we won't get results until tomorrow, but I'm working to try to see if I can get somebody to expedite those. We're not the ones doing the testing, it's COD. And so we're gonna try to get those test results back soon. So if and when the test results come back, that there's no more contamination, then the signs will come down. But until then, we do have to ask people to stay off the beach. The signs are up from the county. We're gonna go put some, like road maintenance, like the orange, like sandwich board signs down there, just so people actually see that the signs from the county are pretty small. It's an unfortunate situation on a lot of levels.
On a lot of levels. So this was a force main. So this is a sewage pipe that's under pressure. There's a pump that pumps it because it's not flowing via gravity. So it's under pressure. That's why there was probably more of a sewage loss than there would be if it was.
Early reports are actually, though, that it was a pretty small amount of sewage that went in there. It was concentrated. And so we're seeking to learn some more, and we'll put out a notice to everybody once we get the full story, like how it happened, where it happened. But we don't want to speculate too much because it's still pretty live.
Emily's going to post something on social media, but again, I really think it comes down to me talking to the command staff of our partner agencies that we collectively need to do a better job of communicating, because I know you know my frustration. There's going to be a gorgeous weekend. We're going to have people on the beach. So collectively, we need to do better. So, and again, this one is certainly not on us, but we're doing our best. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
For quarterbacking this,
you
Brendan. Thank you so much. Again, you are in a much better emotional state than I am. I'm pretty spicy about it. I'm pretty frustrated. So anyway, thank you for trying to calm me down.
You're welcome.
Hope you have a good weekend.
Hope you have a good weekend.
Oh, you got to tell the story next week about what Dorothy said about.
I will. Well, we'll tease that. We'll tease that when we.
We can laugh about this.
That's right.
All right.
Okay. Well, other than all that, take good care.
Take good care.